But first, let's explore the controversy that has surrounded the Imperial Orgy since its inception. Even the Imperial Orgy's name seems controversial to some people. In fact, when this show debuted in New York City, they would not print the name in the Cable Guy brochure because it seemed too provocative. And since day one, controversy has followed the group everywhere they went.
Our first live show was canceled due to protests from local Christian groups. It was out of control. People were calling the bar we were booked at and threatening to riot if we went on. The local newspaper was barraged by calls protesting the event.
The trouble began when an alleged Christian youth organization, the Council of Christian Youth, sent letters to local churches accusing the band of being Satan worshipers, drug dealers, and sexual deviants. Without first checking the authenticity of the Council of Christian Youth or the truth behind the allegations, the church members sprang into action condemning the band and trying to stop the performance. Soon, out of fear, the club the Imperial Orgy was booked to perform at backed down and canceled the show. After the dust had settled, it was revealed the event had actually been a calculated performance art stunt set into motion by Caesar himself. The letter from the Council of Christian Youth was actually written by Caesar and sent to churches to set up a public confrontation.
It certainly brought the hypocrites out of the woodwork. We laid a snare and they fell right into it. The interesting thing was their complete irresponsibility in not checking the truth behind the allegations. The allegations were so outrageous, even the police knew they weren't true, but not one of the Christians stopped to see if there was any truth behind them. That letter could have been created by anybody and aimed at anyone, and they would have destroyed the target if they had the power and their means. Does anybody recall a commandment that goes, "Thou shalt not judge"? This type of behavior is a potentially dangerous force in America and could have destructive effects on our future.
Once the Imperial Orgy was permitted to perform in their hometown of Penn State University, again, controversy soon followed. Almost immediately, the group's flyers were banned from display on campus because they were upsetting to some students. When the local newspaper took up the orgy's cause as a battle against censorship, university lawyers were called in and soon informed the Penn State officials that they were legally in the wrong, and the orgy's flyers were once again allowed to be seen. At the same time, campus women's studies groups were arguing over the group's presentation of women and the effects they have on women in the audience.
We present ourselves as being both strong and sexual. Sometimes we play with the issue by dressing provocatively on stage, but then at the same time reading from the classic feminist manifesto Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex.
This letter, printed in the newspaper from an angry feminist, expresses the outrage some women felt towards the group.
Here we go again. Another artist whining about censorship when the issue is really about the freedom to exercise good judgment. I've seen the band's flyers and found them to be vulgar, degrading, and offensive. Mr. Pink needs to check the U.S. Constitution and discover that in a free country, we all have the right to exercise good judgment.
By coincidence, a letter from Caesar was printed on the same day and placed beside the one accusing him of sexual exploitation.
What is really at issue is the question of openness towards sexuality. Our music deals with various social and political themes, and one of them is sexual liberation. A woman should have power over her own sexuality. That means the power to say no, but it also means the power to express herself freely. Making sexuality a taboo subject does not empower women. Although some students may be uncomfortable with sexuality, college students are adults and will not be harmed by the sight of the human body. Sex is not a dirty word, and the human body is not obscene.
Even today, in supposedly libertine New York City, the Imperial Orgy has faced controversy when the company Website Host refused to host the band's multimedia website. In a letter to the orgy, Jonathan Kusar of Website Host stated that he found the band's website to be, quote, religiously offensive and racist.
Mr. Kusar accused us of being racist for using the word nigger in an article that was clearly anti-racist. By the same logic, groundbreaking shows such as Roots or All in the Family would never have been allowed because they used racist terms while trying to enlighten people about racism. This is a case of political correctness out of control. People like Mr. Kusar are moving us backwards instead of forwards. If a vendor refused to serve somebody because they were black, gay, or female, it would be illegal. Mr. Kusar refused to serve us because of our religious and political beliefs, and feels this is acceptable. Our website deals with spirituality that is heavily based on Eastern philosophies such as Hinduism, Taoism, and Buddhism. Most of the battles over free speech in the web deal with pornography. In our case, the issue was specifically the suppression of religious and political ideas, a much more Orwellian danger.
In our modern age, with the media already saturated with violence and sexual titillation, it is not graphic content which is deemed controversial, but nonconformist ideas which people wish to suppress through censorship. Because the imperial orgy believes in telling the truth as they see it, they are bound to be seen as controversial far into the future.